Okay, you might tell us about God, these various times you've described like to me before, like three or four times when you could or should have died, and given like less fortune, you know.
Yeah. Yep. There, but for the grace of God, John, go I. Um, First time I was in the Silvers, and it was at a Bobby Sands memorial. He was a hunger striker for those died during the hunger strike. There was some sort of memorial event going on, and we were stuck in this. I think it was North Belfast in our Land Rovers, just in case anything kicked off. And we were playing cards to stifle the boredom. There's no mobile phones in those days. Just waiting on a call to do something or react to something. And it was this British soldier standing outside our Land Rover. And he had this huge big squelch box on, with a huge big antenna. And the effect of this antenna was to make any radio transmissions going through our radio sound as though the frequency was just getting jammed and squealing and squawking. I wish he would clear off. I wish he'd clear off. We later found out that this guy, whether on purpose, nature, by design, or sheer luck, was jamming a signal the provies were trying to trigger to a explosive device hidden in a lamppost where our lander was sitting out of. If that had gone off, we might have been dead.
So it was, sorry, they had got explosives inside of the lamppost, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. That's what we were told afterwards, after the event. And here's us thinking, oh, I wish he would clear off. And the guy standing there saving their lives. Crazy. Or I wouldn't be here, maybe.
Do you remember, sorry, do you remember exactly how you found out that it was that particular car and that probably were trying to set it off? Like where were you when the plane stopped?
The branch boys told us afterwards. A couple of days later, we got word from the branch that see that day you were up at the boy, you were lucky boys. The provos were trying to set off a device, but for the soldier there, you would have been gone.
How does it feel? Do you remember how in your heart you felt finding that out?
Yes, relief, but you just felt it could happen anytime. You know, okay, we got away with it, right? What's happening tomorrow? What's on TV tonight? You know, live for today. That was it. Bit of buying. If you dwelt in anything like that, there you go crazy. The other major event was in the Silvers MSU this evening. We're sitting in Belfast City Centre, and we're just about ready to finish work. I think it was about 10:30 at night, and we get tasked by control to follow this bus up the Crumlin Road because youth had been stoning the bus, and it was the last bus going up the. And I was in Silver too this night with a made-up crew, good bunch, but there was only three of us in the crew. All right, let's go. We're in a tangy Land Rover. Normal night, quiet night, dark, and off we went after the bus. And as we were approaching the top of the Crumlin Road, there's this almighty thud in the front of the Land Rover, which felt like a sack of coal hitting it. And I'm sitting in the rear of the Land Rover with, I think it was a Sterling submachine gun on my lap, looking out the window. And from Brompton Park, a dark figure emerges out. Next thing I see is flashing. Bullet strikes, leaving the weapon. Next thing, ping, 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 all into the back of the Land Rover. And it turned out that the thing that hit the bonnet of the Land Rover was a drogue bomb, which the provies were developing in those days. It was called a drogue bomb, drogue, DROGUE. It was a bomb with Semtex in it. Semtex, as I said, was used the Ballygolly. It was the first time it had been used at deadly force against the British soldier. It bounced off the front of the Land Rover but didn't explode. and the guy from Brompton Park was there. Had it exploded, we had been trying to get out the back of the Land Rover, and he was there to finish us off. But as all this is going on, another Land Rover whizzes down citywards, shouting "contact, contact, contact." So he's thinking he's been shot at when really we were the crew that were being shot at. And you're thinking, what? Then we find out it was a drug bomb. Ordered back to Tennant Street Police Station. Speaks with the duty inspector. Kids, you were lucky there. This could have been very serious. Bloody blah. What were you doing up here anyway? Last bus out of town. Have a glass of whiskey. So near-death experience. We had a glass of whiskey. On you go now. Out on patrol. That's the way it was in those days, John.
That is, I was going to say that is crazy to think that
Glass of whiskey.
Like offered whiskey, yeah, offered alcohol as a yeah. I'd have to imagine back then, like the term the term PTSD or even the idea of like mental trauma. I don't know if the language, the vocabulary even around that would have been like, but I'd have to assume that there would have been no like no thought of like counseling for or anything along those lines.
No, nothing. And then finally, and just a quickie, John, the third time, I'm sure there's a fourth time when I was nearly killed, was sitting at a suspect device where the Europa Hotel is. Is it? No, it's not Victoria Street. I can't remember what that street's called. And it was a device opposite the Europa Hotel, about 100 yards down, and we were out recording. And actually, where our recording was where a come-on device was sitting. And we were standing right beside this vehicle when the detonator went off.
You might explain to you what a come-on bomb is.
Yeah, come on. So the probably called us to vehicle A as a suspect device. Downtown radio got the call, confirmed password, informed the police, car is such and such, it's parked outside, blah, blah, blah. We'd assumed a cordon, standing beside this vehicle, and next thing goes, bink! And you go, and it was a detonator had gone off, but the device didn't. Now, had the device gone off, I was dead. I was one of the faces in that big image of Boris. You could pick thousands of officers and they'll tell you the same sort of, they're but for the grace of God. He just went on. We laughed it off.
Did you go home like after that shift feel like with a much different feeling than you had with others, or was it just kind of going home for another day, but this particular day you came this close to seeing a car bomb that would have blown your car?
That could have been that could have been one, but forget about it. What am I on tomorrow? A double? When's my next day off? When can I get a game of golf? When do I want to take the kids out? You live for distraction. You didn't. If you dwelt on anything, John, it was death to your mind. It really was.
I was going to say on that. I've spoken about this with the policemen in like England, like modern day, who would go to the scenes of like road traffic accidents and stuff. And he was saying he suffered quite a bit with PTSD and his mental health and stuff. And he said that one of the reasons you kind of couldn't talk about it with your colleagues or in front of your colleagues or show any kind of not weakness, but something that may be perceived as weakness. That like then you're the colleague that your fellow policemen and women feel like they might not be able to rely on, and you'd never want to be the guy that you feel that others think you're like mentally shaky or
100. You know? You're 100%, John. That's correct. You didn't want to let your mates down. And then thinking back on it, years later, you realize that certain guys you were working with really had it. They were really quiet. They were really withdrawn, really tense all the time, and they were coming to work with it, and you just thought they're slightly weird. You know what I mean? It's slightly weird because for me, I was always slightly light-hearted. I tried to make everything light and breezy, nice, cool, calm, collected. Do my calls, do my files, do my paperwork, go home. If I didn't think too hard about it, if I was with you in a car for 8 hours in East Belfast, I would try to make it as pleasant for us as possible, even though the next call could be our last call. Because why would you try to make it awkward? Why would you're just trying to make it to the end of the next shift every single day, trying to make it to the end of the next shift.
I've heard as well that that kind of like you alluded to it yourself, but the use of like dark humor as kind of a coping mechanism was,
Definitely, yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah.
I mean, the ability to kind of make a joke about something unbelievably grim.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it does seem like something that's necessary to
yeah,
carry through, you know.
yeah. But we were we were brutal with each other. If you had a slight flaw, we ripped the shit out of each other. But everybody got the same, you know. It was dark. It was very dark humor, very, very dark.